Creating a repository. To put your project up on GitHub, you will need to create a repository for it to live in. There are two ways to create a repository. We can do it in the web browser. I have a previous video showing you how to create a repository on the web browser, and this time we're gonna focus on the GitHub CLI. So right now in the GitHub CLI, we have create a repository and commit your first change. Create a repository. You can store a variety of projects in GitHub repositories, including open source projects. With open source projects, you can share code to make better, more reliable software. You can use repositories to collaborate with others and track your work. For more information, see about repositories. So you have a link here. To learn more about open source projects, visit opensource.org. So here are some notes. You can create public repositories for an open source project. When creating your public repository, make sure to include a license file that determines how you want your project to be shared with others. For more information on open source, especially how to create and grow an open source project, we've created open source guides that will help you foster a healthy open source community by recommending best practices for creating and maintaining repositories for your open source project. You can also take a free GitHub skills course on maintaining open source communities. You can also add community health files to your repositories to set guidelines on how to contribute, keep your repository safe, and much more. For more information, you can see this link, creating a default community health file. We also have another link to learn more about GitHub CLI, see about GitHub CLI. So here one. In the command line, navigate to the directory where you would like to create a local clone of your new project. So to create a repository for your project, use the gh repo create subcommand. So here I have my folder programming.js. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna right click and open terminal. You can use get for that if you want. I'm just gonna go with my PowerShell. Let me see what they say. To create a repository for your project, use the gh repo create subcommand. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna type in gh repo create. Okay. When prompted, select create a new repository on GitHub from scratch and enter the name of your new project. If you want your project to belong to an organization instead of your personal account, specify the organization name and project name with organization-name / project-name. So we're gonna press enter here. What would you like to do? Create a new repository on GitHub from scratch, push an existing local. Again, so they're telling us to choose create a new repository on GitHub from scratch. So that's the one I'm gonna choose, and you can go with the arrows down, up. So we're gonna choose this one. Repository name, you can choose any name. So I'm gonna create let me see, okay, I'm gonna put it test. Okay, description, repo with CLI. Okay, description. Okay, it's gonna be public, private, internal is gonna be public. Would you like to add a readme file? Let me see. Well, follow the interactive prompts to clone the repository locally. Confirm yes when asked if you would like to clone the remote project directory. Alternately, to skip the prompt supply, okay, the repository name and visibility flag. So we have the $public, then we have the $private, $internal. Okay, so here let me see, would you like to add a a readme file. For right now, let's go with yes. Would you like to add that get ignore more? Not really. For example, if you're using Node, you install npm install and you have a bunch of modules, you would like to use that get ignore. So right now, no. So I'm using uppercase letter M. Would you like to add a license? I don't know, MIT, let's say. Okay, I mean, it was yes. Oh, let's put it no. Okay. This will create test as a public repository on GitHub. Okay, uppercase letter Y. Okay. Clone new repository locally. Okay, to clone repository confirm yes. Okay, we're gonna type in yes. Okay, all right. So let me see, Docker Express and test. See, okay, they created this folder for us here. Let me see. To clone the repository locally, pass the $- flag. For more information about possible arguments, see the GitHub CLI manual. Okay, so yeah, this is our repository. So we have hooks, info, objects, ref,